Welcome back to the Beyond the Game podcast, where today my co host Noah, Frank, Tyler, and I will be bringing you some more sports updates. This past Friday, your very own Detroit Catholic Central Shamrocks beat Hartland 35-7, which moved them to 10-0 undefeated on the season. The Rocks looked very solid in their playoff debut and have Brighton circled next on the schedule. Noah, what was your analysis of the last game, and what should the Shamrocks be looking forward to against Brighton and for the rest of this playoffs?
I think the Shamrocks just played complete football last week. They dominated the line of scrimmage, the backfield, and the secondary. Duke Banner was just making impossible throws that he shouldn't have made, and their brick wall defense stepped up when needed most. Looking at this Brighton game, and for the remainder of the season, the Shamrocks just have to keep what they're doing and just make sure do not overlook anyone. For the Brighton game, I truly believe that it can turn really ugly really quickly if the Shamrocks can get out to a hot start, and I have the Shamrocks winning this game 42-10.
Very bold prediction there, Noah. And like you said, I just love how this Shamrock team just take cares of business week in and week out. I mean, they're always ranked way higher than their opponents. Me and you talked to Coach Desante. He talks about how they just try to block out the media. They know that they're a top ranked team, but they don't have that sort of mindset. They come in each game thinking they're level to their opponents, not thinking they're any better than them. And I mean, right now, in my opinion, this is the best team in Michigan, and it's their time to prove it in the playoffs. And like you said, Brighton, it could get out of hand, but I looked at their schedule. They are 7-3, and their three losses are to 9-1 Dexter team, 9-1 Howell team, which is a very good team. They only lost by 9, kept it competitive, and then they let one slip against Fortson, who's also 8-2, but they only lost by 4. So this could easily be an 8-2 football team, and I think a lot of people are kind of letting Brighton fly under the radar. I think this is still a big threat for CC. It's going to be a big test. I think that, like I said, everyone around is kind of not taking them very serious enough. That being said, though, I will be taking the Shamrocks 31-17. I think for this game, they're just going to have to keep what they've been doing, the run game. Noah, what do you think for next game?
They just have to rely on their run game.
Yeah, the run. I mean, it's been so good. Cedric Williams, they're starting to bring in JJ Chavalier, other guys like that, Ryan Jafer. I mean, all these guys, Cam Swearingen, sometimes they'll bring in as a Swiss Army knife. Noah, what do you think is going to have to be done by Duke Banna to keep his hot streak going?
He's gonna have to be able to escape the sack.
Yeah, I mean, this Brighton team, I'm sure it's the playoffs. They're going to be gunning hard for Duke Banna, and they're going to be gunning hard for this top ranked Catholic Central team. I mean, you look, and this team, it's just like I was talking about earlier with Coach Asante, they just block out all the other noise, which is a very good quality to have when you're talking about playoffs. You're coming in, and I'm pretty sure that everybody in the sports media world is thinking that CC is going to take care of Brighton pretty easily. And that's, like you said, they can't be getting lackadaisical in this game.
This kind of reminds me of also last year when they played against Cass Tech. They were supposed to beat them. They came off the big win against Belleville, and I think CC might have gotten too cocky in that game, and that's one of the reasons that they lost.
Yeah, and another game was, I think, 2 seasons ago, maybe it was 3, the loss to Northville in the playoffs too. Coach Asante talked about that one. That one stung, and that game has just made them not get lackadaisical coming into these playoff games because anything could truly happen in this great game of college or of high school football, excuse me. Now we're going to head to college basketball where the Wolverines took down Oakland 121-78 and the Spartans got the W against Colgate 80-69. Noah, what were your opinions on the games and how important is the test against John Calipari's Arkansas for this Michigan State team?
Michigan might have just played like a perfect opening game on Monday. Hey, they scored 121 points, second most all time by the team, 69 first half points, most all time by them. Um, Seven guys got double digits, and three of them scored 20 plus. They also had their projected number one All American Yetzel Leningberg score 100% from the field, field in just a dominant game. As for the Spartans, they they did not have their best game versus Colgate, but with Tom Izzo as coach, they will always be in competition, and and then they have their first battle versus Arkansas on Saturday. Hey, and this battle is gonna be huge for them.
Yeah, like you said, Noah, this Michigan team played dang near perfect in their opening game. 7 of 10 guys going for 10 or more points in a debut is almost unheard of, honestly. You look at these stats: Mo Johnson, 24 points; Ade Mara, 12 points; Roddy Gale, 11; Namari Burnett, 14. Like you said, Yaxel Lendenbro shoots 100%, 12 points; Will Cheddar, 16; Trey McKenney, the freshman from Orchard Lake St. Mary's, 21. And if I'm Dusty May, I look at this performance and I'm thinking, I feel like this goal for this season is just way higher for this team than it's ever been before. For this Michigan team, I mean, just 2 seasons ago, they were near the bottom of the Big Ten. They flip it around last year, obviously, with guys like Vlad Golden, Danny Wolf, take them all the way to the Sweet 16 where they lost to Auburn. And now it's looking like they're going to take another step up early in the season, which is very insane for this Michigan team. And then, like you said, for Michigan State, John Calipari's Arkansas team going to be a very big test for them. They beat Colgate. They did only win by 11, however, which is a little bit concerning in a debut against a Colgate team. They got outshot by Colgate by 5%, 47 or 6%, excuse me, 47% Colgate shot from the field. Michigan State only 41.7% in their debut, which is a little bit of concern. Noah, what do you got on that?
That is really concerning, but this game against Arkansas is gonna be an early season game that's gonna determine how their season's gonna go. So this is the first time in a while that they're considered underdog odds, and if they beat this Arkansas team, they're gonna be right in there with the top tier teams. But if they end up losing to Arkansas, then they can find their season and going down really quickly. Please, so they just need to make sure that they win in order to keep their season going on the trajectory that they want it to.
Yeah, and I wonder what Tom Izzo is coaching to his team right now. They did get the W, and I wonder if he's thinking about how his team only won by 11, or if he's just saying a win is a win. We got out of there with a dub. What do you think, Noah? Do you think Tom Izzo's?
I mean, I watched Tom Izzo's press conference earlier, and he did say if we don't pick our stuff up, we will not beat Arkansas.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like I was talking about earlier for the shooting percentage, you look again, Colgate shot 38% from 3, and Michigan State only 28.6% of their three-pointers. That is not great for your debut, folks. We're going to get to see if Michigan State can bounce back in a big way. If they would win, like you said, they would be up there with a lot of the teams in college basketball. And unrelated to Michigan and Michigan State, I'm going to give a game ball out to Koa Pete, the freshman, who went for 30 points and 12 rebounds in Arizona's game against the defending champs, Florida. I don't know if you watched that game, Noah, but
Yeah, that was just a dominant performance again by Arizona on another top tier team, 13th, and single handedly beating them. Um, And now we have to see, will this Florida team still be as dominant, or and will that Arizona win look as good? But and now Arizona, looking at it, they could be in the probably the top 10 and most likely top 7.
yeah, that's a great point, Noah. We're going to pass it on now to Frank and Ty for the next 2 segments. Me and Noah will see you guys next time and the Beyond the Game podcast.
Today, me and Frank will be looking at the Lions and an overall view of college football, but mostly Michigan. So, my first note from the Michigan game is how awful John Morton's play calling was. And so I'm going to give it to Frank. What was your opinion on that?
I mean, it just wasn't good. I mean, again, we're looking at the game. We're down by 7. Okay, this is late in the fourth or early in the fourth quarter. We're down by 7, downside the red zone, 2nd and 10. That's an obvious passing situation, right? With our run game being stagnant the whole game, they run the ball and they get a yard. Okay, a yard, 3rd and 9. Throw the ball, gets sacked, and then it's a 4th and 17. Field goal gets blocked. Minnesota goes down, almost ices the game there. You look at that play call on 2nd and 10, and then you see what would have happened if we would have threw it. Because Jared Goff is a really good passer. And we have a bunch of talent outside, like JMO, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Sam Laporta. I just don't understand why you don't throw it there.
Yeah, right. And honestly, it was like, it's just like, what are we doing? And like you said, the run game was stagnant. Against the Buccaneers 2 weeks ago, Gibbs had a career game with almost 200 scrimmage yards. And so here's his stat line from the Vikings game: 12 touches, 28 yards. I mean, like, what is that? You only give him the ball 12 times. Sure, that's enough, but wouldn't you feed him more after he has a big game? And that was my issue with it and it also seemed like we were forcing it to the receivers more. With 2 weeks ago, me and Frank and Cam talked about them needing to give it to Laporta and JMO more, and they did that, but it felt forced, and I feel like it wasn't a real connection between Goff and Laporta and Goff and JMO. It felt like he was forcing the ball, and you could tell that that's who they were designing the ball for.
Yeah. Like you said, it felt forced. They didn't really. I mean, again, yeah, like you said, JMO or Jahmyr Gibbs. Sorry. You can't just give him the ball 12 times. You cannot just give him the ball 12 times because David Montgomery, they're giving him the ball more. I mean, I said on the last podcast they need to give the ball to David Montgomery more, but you can't let David Montgomery get more carries than Jahmyr Gibbs when Jahmyr Gibbs just came off of an incredible game.
Yeah. And that was the only reason they lost, was that basically their offensive play calling was not that good because their defense, that was pretty good. I mean, we got consistent pressure. I think 4 guys each had a sack, and the secondary is pretty good with Kirby still out. Nobody was like really wide open, and the penalties, which we talked about last episode, they were even. The Vikings had 7 and the Lions had 8, I think. And so that's it. The play calling just needs to be better. And that's how they're going to win their games because they have a tough schedule. Frank, you got anything else to add?
Again, we gave JMO the ball. We gave Sam Laporta the ball. We gave Amon-Ra the ball. It's just, I don't know. I felt like we just didn't play good, sound football. Like, our defense was okay, but they were in some tough situations down the stretch. Obviously, they're Vikings inside the 40. I mean, they got to get a stop. They did. They held them to a field goal, but the Lions just couldn't capitalize. But our defense was always in a rough situation. Then our offense, I mean, what did we have? 1 4th down that we didn't convert?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Early in the game, I think it was. We weren't playing as a sound football team, and we need to play like that every single week if we want to win.
Yeah, and the Vikings really out-schemed us. If we look at it, it wasn't just our play calling was bad, our scheme also was not that good, and we got out-schemed. So staying within football, we'll be looking at college now, and the first thing I'm going to bring up is the Michigan versus Purdue game, in which Bryce Underwood looked like a freshman. I mean, he looked like fresh out of high school. It's his first college start ever. And with these next upcoming games, these next 2 games really, it doesn't seem that bad. Northwestern, that could be a trap. but they're probably going to get the job done. The big trap game I have is Maryland with Malik Washington, breakout freshman for Maryland. Frank, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the Purdue game was just. I think we always play Purdue late in the year. I feel like this always happens. We always play Purdue late in the year. It's always a low scoring game. It's always cold outside. I was at the game. I mean, it's a bad game for Michigan, but I think a win is a win there, and we can learn from it. I mean, that could have definitely ended up as a loss, and we're at what 6-3, and we're almost out of playoff contention. But we win that game. We're 7-2. We seem to be good now. I mean, if we can win against Northwestern and Maryland, which those are both kind of trap games, we'll be 9-2 going into the Ohio State game, which, as you've seen, is a very winnable game for Michigan in the past 4 years.
Yeah. The Ohio State game is really, when you look at the schedule, the only threat. But like I said, Maryland, that puts us at 8-4, and we lose to Ohio State, we're 8-5, probably out of playoff contention.
Mhm.
But if we win, we're 9-3 going to the Ohio State game. Even if we lose that, we could still be in playoff contention. But Ohio State, hate them. Just would love to see Michigan get the job done. Go 10-3,
10-2.
10-2, right? And go the Big Ten championship and win that. Get a first round bye in the playoffs, and that's all very possible. The Wolverines.
Yeah, again, very possible, but gotta look. I think we're gonna beat Ohio State. I think we're losing. We have a higher probability of losing to Maryland than we do Ohio State. I know that sounds crazy, but the trap game against Maryland, it's always the game before Ohio State. We always get we don't play good the game before Ohio State. We just don't. I mean, we saw it 2 years ago, or was that 2 years? 2 years ago against Illinois. We barely beat Illinois at home. That was a game where Blake Corum got injured. But again, we just need to solidify those 2 games, win those 2 games, and then move on to Ohio State. We can't look ahead. We just can't.
Yes, stay in the moment, stay present. And you said Blake Corum getting injured. Well, Justice Haynes is injured. He was looking like a Heisman candidate. Okay, probably top 6 Heisman candidate. And if he kept the way he was going, probably could have won it. But Andrew Marshall stepped up, Jordan Marshall.
For Marshall.
He looked really good. And Andrew Marsh also looking really good. That freshman connection has just been so good all season. And then staying within the realm of Heisman, talking about Heisman, Julian Sayin is up there in Heisman contention, but Jeremiah Smith isn't as far up there. And I think that if you have Julian Sayin at 1, you have to have Jeremiah Smith at 2. Because there's no way Sayin can do all that without Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. You need to put Carnell Tate up there with them as well. If Sayin is on the Michigan offense, we win. We're winning 5 games, okay? And he's just a project. He's a product of the system, and everybody's talking him up like he's all that. And I really don't think he's it.
Yeah, I think Sayin's hitting more of his there's definitely a bunch of guys other than Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. There's Max Clare, transfer from Purdue. They have Donaldson, the transfer from West Virginia. I think he's incorporating a lot of the offense more. I think he's not just throwing it to Jeremiah Smith a lot and Carnell Tate. I think he's using them about the same, though. But I think he's getting Max Clare in there. Bo Jackson, the freshman, obviously a name 30 years ago you would know. But I think he's incorporating some more of the other guys.
Yeah, he's using the offense more, so he's like a game manager now. So basically, you got to put the entire offense up there. Ohio State is the number 1 Heisman candidate right now. not Julian saying. But, and really, when you ask me who the Heisman should go to, there's no clear winner right now. To me, I think it's Ty Simpson. Alabama's been pretty good. Their offense isn't too stacked, especially with the rushing game being pretty down. So it's just him, Ryan Williams, uh, Jeremy Bernard, and so I think he's the number one. Beck's up there, but he just lost. He lost to Louisville. They lost another game. So he's a fraud for sure. And so I think the Heisman really is no clear winner. Yeah, there's no clear winner, and I don't think it's been like that for the past 5 years or so.
No, I think a quarterback's definitely going to win it. As we saw, I mean, Arch Manning was obviously the favorite at the start of the year. Texas does get a big win against Vanderbilt, going off topic. But, I think the Heisman front runner right now is Ty Simpson, but it's so hard. It's so hard to decipher right now because you have guys like Diego Pavia who still maybe could win it. Maybe. Carson Beck, eh. I mean, Gunnar Stockton might be up there, maybe. But I mean, Trinidad Chambliss. But obviously Ty Simpson's up there, but it's not. There's no clear winner.
Right. Yeah. And I think another guy who I had up on my list was Garrett Nussmeier. And for LSU, Brian Kelly just got fired, and the backlash he faced on social media was, I don't think there's ever been a coach that's faced that much hate on social media. There was Malik Neighbors posted something about kicking rocks. And I don't think there was a single good thing that anybody said about Brian Kelly. And that's just it goes to show how big coaching is for these young guys.
Yeah, I think we've seen 3 major powerhouses just crumble this year. Penn State, top 5 in the rankings at the start of the year, they crumble after 3 wins. The Oregon loss in overtime, and then we have Florida. People thought Florida was going to be really good, even with their hard schedule. They lose to South Florida in their second game, and it just goes down from there. They lose their coach. And then we have LSU. Garrett Nussmeier was top 5, was a front runner in the Heisman. But I think, yeah, like you said, coaching matters a lot more than people think. I think coaching helps. I don't know. Coaching helps. If you have a good coach, you're going to have a really good team.
Right.
If you have a really good team, but you have a bad coach, you're going to be okay, but you're going to be really stagnant. You're not going to get better. You're not going to really get worse, but you're just going to stay stagnant. And that just goes to show how much a good coach matters.
Right, yeah. If you have a bad coach, you ain't winning a playoff game. Even in the NFL, if you don't have a good coach, you're not winning a playoff game. And that's why we got to be so hard on these coaches. Speaking of bad coaching, we have Jonathan Smith, who hasn't been fired yet, but is definitely on the hot seat. I personally think he's probably fired during the off season, probably to try and see who else gets fired after the season, bring in a likable guy, get some transfer portal recruits, get some other major recruits that decommitted, and see if we can rebuild the roster. And speaking of Michigan State transfers, Aiden Childs, he might need to transfer with Alessio Milovacek he looked pretty good against Minnesota, gotta be honest. And, so I just wonder what's going through Aiden Childs' mind when, the Michigan State offense is just crumbling.
Yeah, obviously Michigan State has been very underwhelming this year. They've won 3 games. They beat Western Michigan by 17? Not by a lot. They beat Boston College, a team who's 1-8. They beat them by 1 point in double overtime. I mean, and then you give up, what did they give up? 17 points to Youngstown State? You can't. And then they lose 6 straight Big Ten games. I mean, I think Jonathan Smith needs to be fired immediately. I think he needs to be fired immediately because if you can't win 1 out of 6 Big Ten games, I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, especially against UCLA, who, they got Iamaleva in the transfer portal. So everybody thought they could be good, but after the start of the season, they really weren't. And then they beat Penn State and Michigan State. I mean, I mean, you got to win. You got to win that game. I mean, it's UCLA.
Yeah, it's winnable games that they're like really just choking. I mean, UCLA, you're losing by 25 to UCLA. I mean, UCLA is good with their new offensive coordinator and Jerry Neuheisel, but come on, like you gotta at least keep that game. Obviously, even at home, you have to keep it competitive. And with all this drama going on in college football, a lot of the big teams losing. You saw Georgia Tech over the weekend lose. You saw Vanderbilt lose, a top 10 team. You saw Miami lose. I mean, there's so much drama that a 3-loss team is probably going to make the playoffs. And winning those close games, obviously Michigan State will not make the playoffs, but winning these close games against bad opponents like Michigan did against Purdue, that will set you apart from other teams because you see Miami losing to SMU. I mean, SMU's not making the playoff. I mean, you got to win those games.
Yeah, like I said, Carson Beck, he's not good. I mean, he lost to Louisville. He threw, I think, 3 picks in a single half against them. I mean, who even is at Louisville outside of Miller Moss, who honestly could probably be up there in Heisman contention. I don't really know I don't know his exact stat total, but I know he's been pretty good. He could definitely be up there.
Yeah, big win against Virginia Tech there for Louisville. Obviously, win those games against lower competition will set you apart from teams.
Yeah. And another thing for Louisville is they have a big rivalry with Kentucky, an SEC team. I don't know how they're doing, but if you beat an SEC team, that's definitely grounds to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, Kentucky's struggling this year, but obviously any win against an SEC team is big.
Yeah. Especially since it's SEC Big Ten. You beat an SEC opponent, you beat a Big Ten opponent. That helps your case even more, helps your Heisman race, helps your playoff race, helps your rankings out of a ton. And, if a Big Ten team beats an ACC team, nobody bats an eye. It's like they went in there, they got the job done.
Yeah,
And
Michigan lost to Oklahoma. That was, you don't think about it, but that was a really crucial game. If you're gonna look back on any game for Michigan, it's gonna be that game. I don't think it'll be the UCLA or USC game, but I think it's gonna be the Oklahoma game because a Big Ten versus SEC opponent. Oklahoma's proving to be okay, but they're not at the top like a lot of people thought they were. They lost to a Texas team, and Texas. I mean, it's just been a weird college football season, and that game against Oklahoma, if we would have beat them, we would be in the top 10 right now with 1 loss to USC. I mean, you got to win those games.
yeah, I mean, Oklahoma, though, you see Oklahoma looking back on it, the play calling wasn't that good. Threw a lot of checkdowns, screen passes. I mean, I guess they were trying to get Bryce Underwood into the rhythm of it. But when you're down, you got to throw it. And that's all Bryce is good for. Throwing it deep and running it with his legs. And he didn't really use either of those. So that's what is really going to come out of the Oklahoma game.
Yeah, and going back to the USC game, play calling was bad in both of the games. Going back to how much coaching is, how important coaching is. I mean, our play calling by Chip Lindsey has been atrocious. I mean, I'm not going to say it's been atrocious, but it hasn't been good. We thought he was going to come in, let Bryce sling the rock. I mean, be a pretty run-dominant offense, but I thought we were going to see him sling the rock a little bit more, but I mean, he's throwing a lot of checkdowns. It hasn't been 20, 30-yard passes. It's been screen plays, check down to the running back, maybe a short slant to Andrew Marsh. I mean, when you get to play those really good opponents, you need to let him do his thing because he was the number 1 quarterback in the 2025 class
Yeah,
for a
number one
reason.
recruit. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta let him do his thing because we recruited him to do his thing. We didn't recruit him to stay content with what the play caller wants. We recruited him to do his thing and win us ball games.
Yeah. And that's what's going to come down to is can the Lions and Michigan can their OCs call good plays and play to their players' strengths, which they haven't been doing.
No.
Do you have anything else to add, Frank?
Just a crazy weekend of football for Detroit and for all of football. I mean, it was just a crazy week.
Yeah. And that wraps it up for the Beyond the Game podcast.